Hello and good morning, everybody, or good afternoon for the guys who are in APAC. So welcome to this Masimo Denon webinar about our new true wireless in-ear headphones, Denon PerL Pro and Denon PerL. So actually, I'm not Achim, although this was in the invite. Achim could not make it, but I'm not alone here because I have Frédéric from Hong Kong with me, who will support me in all this webinar, of course.
Hi, hey, Roland, how are you? Everything okay?
I'm fine so far, yes. We want to talk about PerL. As I said, with PerL, these are our new, let's say, flagship true wireless in-ear headphones. So, and PerL stands for Personalised Listening. So it's actually two words. And this is also describes the very special feature of these true wireless in-ear headphones. So first of all, I want to start about the headphones of Denon, what we have in our portfolio. When I want to describe this nice little headphone as the flagship headphone, and yeah, I want to point out a few features which are really nice. But when I want to go to the Masimo AAT, the Adaptive Acoustic Technology, so which is the real USP of these headphones. So, and in the end, I will describe other very useful features and take a look into the Denon Headphones app, which is needed to really calibrate this headphone. So this is the Denon Headphones product roadmap. Of course, we have here cable headphones with the AHD 9200 made in Japan, the 7200, 5200, our wooden cup headphones. So we have a few over-ear portable noise cancelling headphones, as well as we first launched in I think it was last year, right, Frédéric? Our first true wireless in-ear headphones. So the 830 NCW and the 630W. And now it comes to another, let's say, another generation of headphones. So we are more dealing with really personalized sound, which is really for you. And therefore, I want to play a short video which is introducing the Denon PerL and the Denon PerL Pro to you.
J'ai perdu toutes mes envies de vivre sans toi. Dans ma tête, je ne pense qu'à cette dernière fois. J'ai perdu toutes mes envies de vivre sans toi. Dans ma tête, je ne pense qu'à cette dernière fois. De vivre sans toi. Dans ma tête, je ne pense.
Yes, and for the record, we have a couple of versions of these. So for those who would like to leverage these videos, there's a bunch of cut downs, social assets. We have different form factors, different orientation. This was 16:9. You have 9:16, 1:1, etc. Back to you, Roland.
That's right. Yeah, so you can easily use it for your Instagram page or whatever you want to use it for. That's true. And of course, so we have two variations of this Denon PerL and Denon PerL Pro. Of course, as the name says, of course, the Pro version is the more expensive, the more advanced one. And you can easily also distinguish these two with design-wise, because there is a, let's say, chromium ring around this headphone for the Pro version. So the butt of the Pro version is a bit larger than the butt of a, let's say, non-Pro version of the PerL. And of course, we have a lot of other features which are different in the two headphones. But the major thing is, of course, that both have our USP feature, meaning the calibration, with the Masimo AAT technology, Adaptive Acoustic Technology. So which we will describe, of course, later on in this webinar. Both feature a 10mm driver for sound quality. 10mm is really large driver. Of course, it's a dynamic driver, but for the PerL Pro, it's actually a triple layer dynamic 10mm titanium driver, which is used in here. So which gives the PerL Pro a higher level of sound quality in here. And the PerL Pro also features lossless, Qualcomm aptX lossless. We will talk in a minute about this. It also has a Pro EQ, meaning you can really also in a 5-band EQ, so you can really customize your sound afterwards. And it features spatial audio, meaning 3D audio with Dirac Virtuo. I will also talk about this a bit later. For noise cancelling technology, both feature noise cancelling. But the usual PerL is, let's say, it's only active noise cancelling, while the PerL Pro is adaptive noise cancelling. What does it mean, adaptive noise cancelling? So it really learns. It's a learning algorithm which is actually adapts over time due to the outer environment. Depends on your outer environment, if it is louder, if it is less loud, and so on. And it really adapted this noise cancelling level in a way that it is really, it gives you much more comfort if you have this adaptive noise cancelling. Instead, you have just the normal active noise cancelling. And both feature, of course, the so-called transparency mode, which we call in the app social mode, and which, of course, gives you a bit of transparency when somebody is talking to you from the outside. You just want to hit a button on your earbud, and then of course, you have this social mode enabled. You have, of course, customizable bass for both of this, which is called immersion mode in the two headphones. But we will talk a bit later about these things. Yeah, with regard to the durability, so we have, of course, batteries which at least last 6 hours. So for the Denon PerL. And the case holds 3 more, let's say 3 more loads, so that you all together come up to 24 hours. And battery for the PerL Pro, it's a bit more, so it's 32 hours, so meaning the battery is a bit larger in the case, and also so it's a different battery, and also in the earbud. Both are sweat resistant, which is very important, of course. Yeah, and we have real multi-points, so you can have in the PerL Pro, so in the Pro version. So multi-point means so you can connect to 2 smartphones, for example, simultaneously, or maybe to 1 smartphone and to your iPad simultaneously. And there are a few features which are really nice. So you hit the play button on one device and it will take over. You hit the play button on the other and it will take over. But you can also configure this in the app. So if you don't want to have it like this. The bigger PerL Pro is really featuring wireless charging through, let's say, so you can put the case on a wireless charger, on a QI charger, and then it will charge us wirelessly, while for the usual PerL, so you need to have, of course, this USB-C connector connected to charging, let's say, to AC adapter or whatever. We have a lot of microphones in these headphones for Denon PerL Pro. These are 8 microphones altogether, but 6 are used for, let's say, the best-in-class voice calls, a technology called aptX Voice, and which works together with these clear voice control. And this includes 6 voice microphones, and there are 2 bone conduction microphones who will take over depending on what is the outside noise. So, and if the outside noise is too high, of course, these signals from the bone conduction microphones will get more importance, so it will get used more, and your voice will stay clearly understandable all over the time. With both, and which is really a nice feature, because many other products do not have this. You have really customizable touch controls. So I really love it, but I can really say, okay, so this is just pressing once, it's hanging up or whatever. So you can really set it in the app, but I will come to this later on. And you have a multiple set, of course, of ear chips. You have S, M, L, and XL of these usual silicon ear chips, but you also have a foam earpiece, so which is really adapting to the form in your ear. So, and a nice little thing is, which comes at the beginning, is this fitting test through the app, but we will play this later on for you. Yeah, aptX lossless. So actually in the last year, nearly all the new Android phones, because it's a feature of a Snapdragon chipset, so feature these aptX lossless, and the aptX lossless codec is actually allowing you lossless transferring, so transfer audio in CD quality from your smartphone or your tablet, your Android tablet, to your PerL Pro headphone. So this is the feature which PerL Pro only has. But also PerL features aptX, which is really high quality sound. And if you think of iPhone, iPad, and so on, so this is able only to transfer AAC, and of course these headphones are also supporting AAC. Dirac Virtuo is also a Pro-only feature, which is actually a virtualizer. So you know virtualizer maybe from our AV receivers and from our soundbars, but actually so it's very new to let's say headphones. So this is of course giving you the experience if you would sit in a you are really immersed by sound that doesn't depend on your source material, meaning your source material could be 2-channel music. And of course, so this Dirac Virtuo tries to enhance this to a really immersive sound field, which really is all around you. But the major feature, of course, of both headphones, PerL and PerL Pro, is this adaptive acoustic technology. And I need to go a bit into, let's say, into medicine just for a moment. So because as you know, so Masimo is a important company with regard to medicine technology, and there is of course also in clinical use and cases if you are a newborn child, so cannot say so I hear that or I hear that tone. And that's why you have to check it automatically. So, and this is checked by the so-called autoacoustic emissions, meaning as you see on the picture below, so the hearing of a child is checked by some tones which go into, let's say, the ear of the child, and then the nerve, of course, of the hearing is triggered, and it puts back some signals. And these signals are measured. And according to these measurements, so you can judge the hearing capability of your child. And this is actually the technology which is behind Masimo AAT. We are using this in our true wireless in-ear headphones, PerL and PerL Pro. What is Masimo AAT actually? So what we have is, of course, we have a traditional EQ, so which is a traditional equalizer, which you know it can be graphic equalizer, it can be whatever parametric equalizer, which is not automated, but you can set it according to your sense and your taste, of course. But some other companies are doing this is an automatic measurement of your outer ear, meaning your fit and your shape, but it does not really measure your hearing nerve activity. So how you hear, it does not really measure your sense, your perception of a sound. But Masimo AAT tried to do both using these autoacoustic functions, which I told you before. So it's a really fully automated system, and it measures both the ear shape and the sense, meaning how you hear. the signals. And this is, I guess, the most important thing. So we will have a short video. So it's a marketing video, but it describes how this Masimo Adaptive Acoustic Technology works. How is this Masimo AAT technology now works with these acoustic measurements in the Denon PerL? So the first thing is that a set of test tones is played during the calibration part. And this gives you the first thing, which is also the case with, let's say, other manufacturers who have these in-ear headphones, gives you the ear canal response, meaning the shape of your outer ear. So this is a very, very big signal from amplitude-wise, and it is measured by a microphone. But the microphone is really, really sensitive, and it also measures for other signals. So it measures, of course, the signal from the hearing nerve, meaning there is, if the set of test tone is played, so of course it's not only reaching your outer ears, so you couldn't hear, of course, in this case, but it's also going into your middle ear, the hammer, the stirrup, and then it goes to your inner ear. And with your inner ear, there are these fine hairs which are connected to your hearing nerve. And then your hearing nerve sends back an extra tone, which is completely different from the tones played in frequency. So, and this is describing your nerve activity to this, let's say, to this played frequency. So when it goes back, of course, and this tone is then going back to your outer ear, and this is then received by the sensitive microphone. And actually, this is the measure of if you can hear at this frequency, of course, what you can hear at this frequency. Because if for this frequency, your ear is really less active or is not active anymore, there will be no or a weak response of this extra signal. And this is measured by this very, very sensitive microphone. In this case, only, let's say, the ear canal, so meaning the outer ear response, is then measured by this microphone. So altogether, taking this all together and measuring this for different frequencies, of course, then there is, of course, a hearing profile of you. Yeah, this is done, of course, by the algorithm. This is done by the app. Inside there, in the app, there's this algorithm. And then, of course, the individual characteristics of your hearing can be estimated. And AAT is using this procedure. If you hear all this, this sounds a bit like really medical, but actually it's not. So it's not intended for this. So it's really designed really to customize your sound toward your normal hearing, but it is not really compensating for hearing loss. This is a very, very important thing. So I just want to state this in here. Anyhow, so it can give you really, really good adapt to your sense in your ear. So how you get started with these nice little headphones? Of course, if you unpack these headphones, so you can pair your headphones quite normally with your device. If you do not pair it and take it in your ears, it will say, please pair it with your mobile device. So because we are voice prompts, actually. So when please install the Denon Headphones app, it will also tell you to install the Denon Headphones app. I have done a QR code in here, so you can easily scan this QR code with any Android or iOS device, and then it will end up in the app stores, and of course you can install the app. So the first thing you have to do is actually create an account, because this is a personalized thing. So personalized listening, you have to do your own personalized let's say, your own personal account and your own personal hearing profile. So this is just easy. Just enter your email address and you will get a code to your email address. Just enter this in here, and then you can start right away with setting up the app. So hopefully now it will work, because we prepared a setup video, because we could not really demonstrate this in here, so you couldn't hear all the voice prompts if we do it really with the headphones. So, and I will now start the so-called how to personalize the video.
Right, so first you create your profile or that of someone else, and you enter your age, which is important. We'll explain that later.
Let's begin. First, you'll hear some tones as I check to see if the ear tips are firmly in your ears. Adjust the position of the earbuds until both ticks appear and remain constant.
So this is where you should be adjusting your ear tips to get a proper seal.
Good job. Now, take your hands off the earbuds and sit still while I run a quick check of your ears.
Right, so now come test tone 1, which is a frequency sweep. Yeah, so this is a complete frequency sweep to check what your hearing range is, and this will also take into account the age that you set in the profile.
I'm now going to learn how you hear music. Keep still and don't speak. This will take about a minute.
So that's the last test tone. So while this is going on, as you grow older, you have a tendency to become less sensitive to high frequencies. Inputting your age matters, as the learning engine will compensate the amount of emphasis in the high frequency range that you might be less sensitive to. What you see here in the app, the grayish circle, that's a visual representation of the calibration as it is being measured by the mics inside the nozzle. The lower frequency hearing starts at the 12 o'clock position, and the frequency range goes up as you move clockwise, which you can also hear in the test tone. Also, everything plotted outside the circle indicates frequencies that you're sensitive to or oversensitive. Everything inside the circle indicates frequencies that you're less sensitive to or not sensitive at all. So that's your whole visual representation of your personal hearing. The whole process takes about a minute to a minute and a half. The test tone is starting to change a bit as it moves up to measure the higher frequencies, until it reaches the 360 degrees cycle. You'll also notice some coloring in blue and red, and that's individual to each person. The colors don't mean anything, it's again a personalized representation of the individual being measured, which is unique to you. And the measurements are completed now. So now it's calculating. The 3 test tone measurements are being put together, and the AI learning engine, including your age, will determine the set individual profile.
All done. Your Denon hearing profile has been created. You'll now hear some music, played in default mode, without your hearing profile applied. Adjust the volume as desired, and when you're ready, tap the button to experience music personalized for you.
So now it's playing music, and you can switch between the default profile and a personalized profile to do an A/B comparison. Immersion mode is the variable amount of bass. You can adjust it to your taste. Social mode is what we refer to as transparency mode. You can switch it on or off. And spatial audio is the Dirac Virtuo virtualizer. Then the last step, which you can skip and set up later as well, allows you to customize the touch behavior of both buttons on the side of each earbud. So this is again the process to completely personalize each earbud based on the individual hearing, based on your age, step by step guiding you through with voice prompts. Very straightforward. Back to you, Roland.
Okay, so yeah, so we saw of course this nice little setup video, and thank you very much for explaining this. So you already explained what the graphics is all about. It's actually, if you look at the graphics, so you explained that at 12 o'clock it starts with the low frequencies going clockwise then to the higher frequencies, and then is a representation of sensitivity, or better to say also of how much gain. So the original signal should be compensated for each individual frequency, which is then derived from the measurements, of course, in that. So what you also have then in your app is, of course, you have your profile, and maybe in the end, so you also saw that you could switch to left and right, so you can compare, of course, what are your hearing capabilities on the left and on the right. Maybe these are different, maybe these are quite similar. So I've seen everything so far. And of course, in the main screen of the app, so you have a lot of useful features. Of course, you can switch in the app. You can switch the noise cancelling on and the social mode on with the button on the left there. And then you can go into the settings menu, which is on the top left. And in the settings menu, yeah, the thing which you can also do in here is configure your touch buttons, which I explained to you before, meaning you can say what should a long tap on the left button, so meaning on your left earbud should do, what should a double tap should do, what should a triple tap should do, and so on and so on. So this is really, really, really useful. And yeah, so you have a lot of settings in here. So I just want to go to, let's say, for example, to a very, very important settings for the PerL Pro, which I think it's the multi-point functionality and the so-called music takeover function. So as I explained before, music takeover means so you can hit play on one smartphone and it will take over your headphones, and you can then hit play on the other smartphone without finishing the first one and will take over. If you don't want to have this way, of course, you can switch it off in here. So when you need to pause or you need to finish your transmission on the first smartphone, and then you can play on the second smartphone.
Yeah, I have a very good scenario for that. I was using the laptop as one device, and then the phone as a second device. I was listening to music on the phone, and as soon as I had a video from YouTube popping up on the laptop, it automatically switched over to the sound on the laptop. So it's very, very straightforward.
That's true. Really for working, very straightforward. If there's someone calling you and you are really listening to your favorite music before, yeah, this is nice. And of course, yeah, so where is the spatial audio part? So meaning the Dirac Virtuo functionality. So there are two ways, of course, you can in the menu, so you can switch spatial audio on. Otherwise, so you don't need to go into the manual. So on the main page, so you can click on the button on the lower right, and there you have the symbol, then Dirac Virtuo on and Dirac Virtuo off. So giving you the 3D audio part. So you can really compare one by one with on and off. And I guess you will notice very easily the difference. Moreover, of course, you can use in the PerL Pro only, of course, the Pro EQ. So this is the second button on the top, the second button on the top of the menu. So you can go into this EQ, and you can of course fine tune in a 5-band EQ. When you have this so-called high gain mode, which is intended for really signals with very low volume. So what does it do? So it really increases your output level by 6 dB. And then you can even have these kind of signals, of course, listened at a really decent volume. So, but please be aware, of course, because high-level signals will even be louder then. Yeah, so I just, because the first question that came into my mind as a more or less home cinema guy is how do I calibrate correctly? Because in home cinema, this is also very, very, I guess, yeah, the first question which is already asked. So, okay, I have my calibration system, and how do I calibrate correctly? Or better to say, how do I calibrate in a way that my second calibration will actually be very, very similar to my first calibration, which is not always the case. And also with these headphones, it can be completely different. So if you are really calibrate under different situations and in different conditions. And this is because this microphone in it is really, really sensitive. And it's really depending on measuring in a very, very quiet environment. But first of all, a perfect and constant fit is really, really required. That's why there is the fitting test. But please do one thing and try this until it is really, really comfortable in your ear. And then, yeah, start with this fitting test. And then please, yeah, there's the voice prompt. Now take your hands off your earbuds. Please do this. Because this is very, very important for the measuring process. And then ensure a quiet environment. So you can go into the loudest environment after calibrating. But while calibrating, please stay in a quiet environment. Close windows, doors, whatever you can. And sit very, very still. And in my, so my recommendation is going, maybe having a walk and then sit down, and when want to measure, please do avoid this. Please sit down for a while and then do this measurement, and really sit very still. Do not lie, do not stand, whatever. And please do not move your head during measurement. Do not swallow. This is really important. And do not chew. This is also important, because with chewing, so this microphone is really so sensitive, it will end up in a complete different result. So that's why during calibration, it's really important, but it's just 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. And after this, you will really have a great sound, a personalized sound. And this is, of course, what it is all about with Denon PerL and Denon PerL Pro. Yeah, actually, so we are at the end of this session. So yeah, maybe 4 minutes after time, but it's okay, so I guess. So for questions.
Yes, there were a couple of questions with regards to iOS Apple. So yes, for iOS, whether it's an iPad or an iPhone, you can only support SBC and AAC, so nothing aptX related, because Apple doesn't support that. There was one question, if we could explain a little bit again about the OAEs, the autoacoustic emissions. So the way, maybe I can quickly explain in a slightly different way, a slight alternative way. So in our inner ear, we have the cochlea, which is the snail type of thing, that is filled with liquid. And then when we are pushing these tones, these test tones, like audio, they're waves. So the waves are picked up by the liquid, and the liquid is going to move back and forth, generating a movement on these little hairs inside. The nerve will then pick these electric movements up and convert that into a sense. But the movement of that liquid makes a noise. And this is the noise that we're trying to measure with the microphones, the very sensitive microphones that are inside the nozzle. So then when we do these test tones, there's different types of movements and certain types. So the process is it's expecting the same test tone to come back, which will come back because that's what it's measuring. And it will either have extra or not extra signals on top of it. And bass buds coming extra, that means you're sensitive to those. And if it's not coming back, that means you're probably not sensitive or not as sensitive. So the main test tone, all these three altogether, are then created to create that personalized profile. We also mentioned the age is also important, because if you think, and that's something we experimented as well, some at an older age will still be very sensitive to high frequency. If you think the high frequency in the personalized profile is a bit too much, you can actually put a lower age and insinuate, I'm not that old, you don't need to boost the high frequencies as much. Because what we've done is we've done measurements from different people with different ages, and for every specific age, we came up with a specific parameter of an amount of high frequency boost that would be needed at a specific age group. That's just an average, so you can play around with that as well. It's quite interesting. Where is the volume control, Roland? How do we control the volume?
Yeah, of course. So you can control your volume with the smartphone. So with the buttons on your smartphone. So this is no issue. So as you would usually do this. So actually.
Question: will it be possible to have a smoother control of ambient pass-through mode instead of on-off? I've noticed sound level is in ambient mode, it's still quite too high and does not allow to fully hear the other people talking to you. It really depends on the environment, right? I mean, pass-through also works together with noise cancelling at the same time.
This is true. So I know this question. So actually in our company, so we had this functionality before with former, let's say, in-ear headphones from our English Bowers and Wilkins company. So not the latest one, but the ones before. And actually it wasn't used that much. So because we have these user data. So wherefore, of course, the successors, meaning the PI5 or PI7 S2, they didn't have it anymore. So we just have the on-off functionality. But I understand why this is this maybe is really needed. And we also feedbacked this to our team in Japan already.
Right, so this is a feature request, and it's possible that we may see this in a firmware upgrade. So if the market demands
in future products, maybe. Yeah.
Or in future products, exactly. If measurements are close to the edge of the circle, does it mean that the hearing is fine? That's a very interesting question. How would you interpret that?
Measurements are.
If it's following the circle, everything inside the circle or towards the inside meaning you're not as sensitive. Everything outside of the circle means you're oversensitive. Right. So if it's on the edge, you probably fit the average hearing profile.
Yeah, you fit the average hearing profile, like our test candidate, which we had in the thing we described, because it was quite on the edge, right?
The video was made with devices to record the sound that didn't feed back any deviation, so it would be so-called perfect hearing. So that's why what you saw in the video is actually a virtual example, not a real life example.
True.
As I see, this technology is open to many possibilities. Can you share any info about or start a new personal line of audio devices? Well, I would say this is new patent technology by Masimo. It's safe to say that we are going to explore ways to put this technology into different products, but when, what, and where, that's too early to discuss at this point.
That's true. So I even don't know. So when, what, whatever. So, but we know, of course, that there will be something.
Another question is, we noticed it's not possible to create more than one profile so far. Actually, that's not true. You have 3 slots available. So the 3 slots allow you to share the device with other members of the family or friends, or it's possible to make different profiles for yourself based on, for example, I have a profile that sets my age. I have another profile where I put the age lower on purpose. And then I have a profile that I did with a different calibration because I use different ear tips. So whenever you change the ear tips, you have a different seal, which is important to have that seal. But different characteristics like the silicone buds, the silicone ear tips versus the foam ear tips will create a different way of how it's feeding back. So one profile could be silicone tips and what could be foam tips, for example, based on what you will be using.
True. So maybe one additional thing. So the last profile is always stored in the headphone, meaning so if you take out these headphones and then you put it on whatever, so you just pair it without having the Denon Headphones app on another smartphone. So when the last profile will be used, which you used before, which is also very, very useful if you pair it with your PC, for example, or with your laptop, because you don't have the Denon Headphones app on your laptop to switch on and off the profile.
Okay, I think this is pretty much it. If anyone else has more questions, please use the questions tab. If not, then I think we can conclude. So let's just give a little bit more time. What's your general impression, Roland, about this headphones? How do you like them?
So it's really, really great. So you have to get used to it, and you have to get used to this calibration process, of course. But of course that's why I did this last slide and about how to calibrate. But in the end, so it's another, let's say it's another way of hearing, and I have to say I really liked it. So first of all, of course, you can hear the difference between the Pro and the non-Pro version because sound quality. But in the end, so also the non-Pro version with this, let's say, personalized sound provides enough for me that I use it as a standard headphone, for example, when going out with my dog.
Yeah, I was very impressed as well. I mean, it took me a couple of calibrations to get the right sound that I liked with the right ear tips. But now with the virtualizer, you really have that feel like you're listening to hi-fi speakers right in front of you. You don't have that sound in your head. It's playing as you would expect from speakers in front of you. So it's a very, very good representation, and I'm very impressed that they were able to get that amount of detail and bass focus and clarity in a small form factor. So this is very, very unique product.
True.
Okay, I think this is it. No further questions. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully this gives you the right stuff. If you have any questions, of course, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we wish you great end of Monday or great beginning of Monday.
Bye for now. Bye everyone.